AI in Action is brought to you by Alldus International, covering your business's staffing, consulting, and networking needs. Our host brings you the leading minds in AI, sharing their story, their success, and their advice. Focusing on fast-tracking you to the top, AI in Action cuts through the hype to help you kickstart your data science career. To listen to the latest AI in Action podcast, head over to www.alldus.com/podcast or subscribe via iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Podcasts.
You're listening to AI in Action. I'm your host, JP Valentine. Our guest today is Budi Tanzi. Budi is the VP of Product at Tapad. Budi, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's our pleasure. So, Budi, let's start with yourself. Can you give a brief background of yourself, your career, where you got started, and what your journey has been like, taking us up to just before you joined Tapad?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm originally from Turkey, and I went to college at Bilkent University in Turkey, in Ankara, at the capital, and I majored in electronics engineering. Soon after graduating, maybe like close to getting graduated, I kind of realized that electrical engineering was not something I wanted to do. And my passion kind of lied into solving problems and getting connected with between technical and non-technical audiences. So I wanted to get a degree that could help me bridge the gap between technical and non-technical people, which led me to my interest in receiving a master's degree in technology management at NYU.
Excellent. So then your career path began to pivot into technology management. Can you walk us through that journey?
Yeah, absolutely. So soon after I came to New York, I started working for a few startup companies, and I wanted to practice my skills that helped me kind of bridge that gap between technical and non-technical audiences. And at one of the startups that I was working for, StrikeAd specifically, which was a mobile DSP, and I joined them in 2014. I joined them as a solutions engineer, and as a solutions engineer, one of your jobs is to kind of make sure that you get a pulse of what the customer needs are and really understand how the challenges that they solve could fit to kind of how you build products as well. And there I took a data science course while I was working there. I went to General Assembly to take a data science course. My goal at the time when taking that course was to really add another skill set to my belt and understand about machine learning, improve my knowledge there. But I really didn't, to be honest, I didn't know how I was going to leverage it for work or anything in life, to be quite frank. And then what I did was, as the course progressed and I got to learn more about ad tech, I realized that advertising and real-time bidding could be applied in a smarter way by using machine learning and data science. And as a result of that, I built a forecasting tool for the company, which kind of was an eye-opening moment. It illustrated an actual application of how AI can solve a problem for an ad company. That was the moment that I was kind of looking for to figure out like how I can use all these things that I learned. And then it opened up a lot of natural conversations within the company with people from engineering and business leaders. And we invested from there on a lot more in machine learning for the future of our technology at StrikeAd. And StrikeAd was soon acquired by Seismic soon after that, which kind of also Seismic was a company in 2015, which was making big investments in ad tech as well as machine learning.
Excellent. So since then, you've moved on and you've obviously joined Tapad. So can you give us an overview of Tapad as a business? What drew you to them, your role within the company, and what's happening day to day?
Yeah, absolutely. So I came to Tapad in 2016, and I was really attracted to Tapad because of their machine learning and data science investments, and how machine learning and data science was a huge part of company's product offering. And I wanted to be part of that team. I met a lot of smart people, and it was very exciting to see how they were future thinking and innovating. So that was kind of one of the reasons I joined Tapad.
Excellent. So then walk us through your journey, because I know you joined as an engineering lead, and then your role has evolved over time. Can you help us understand how your role has changed in the business over the few years that you've been there?
as you mentioned, I began working at Tapad as a solutions engineering lead, and I was specifically working on the media arm of Tapad at the time. We had what we called a self-service DSP, a demand-side platform that helps advertisers buy effective ad campaigns and make their life easier. And my primary role there was basically taking on the voice of the customer for the product organization, kind of getting a pulse on what's happening in the market. And Tapad, throughout the years, divested their media business. It wasn't a focus for them anymore, and shifted the focus to its identity resolution products in 2017, that was the core product of Tapad that powered everything. Throughout this journey, I transitioned into working with engineers and data scientists at Tapad, who were actually building the solution to solve the problem that Tapad's core product offering was being used for, which is building cross-device identity graphs. So that was a very exciting transition for me. And soon after that, I was promoted to run solutions engineering as a function. And then I currently lead both solutions engineering as well as client-facing products at Tapad.
Amazing. So looking at your role now, because it's clearly multifaceted, senior position in an organization that has a lot going on, what do you enjoy most about your role? What's your favorite part of what you do?
My favorite part of my job is working with customers and understanding their daily challenges and processes. It helps me understand and have a stronger sense of what their challenges are and what their problems are. And this is a very motivating factor because it makes you feel that you really understand your customer well, you connect with them. And because of this, I can help engineers and data scientists build and iterate on products that truly service the needs of the customer. You really understand what they need and you really work towards that goal. So this has become a critical function at Tapad and part of the feedback loop that keeps Tapad evolving as a leader in the identity space. And I consider it to be actually very rewarding to know that I'm contributing to this process and my team does as well.
So, Buddy, I want to get your take now on certain parts of your role and as it impacts the industry. As it's been well publicized now, there's a switch from third-party cookie data. Be good to understand how Tapad view this, how you're going to tackle it, and how you're going to evolve as this change comes in.
So if you think about your typical consumer, like I'll use just myself as an example. On a daily basis, I use somewhere between 4 to 5 different digital devices, right? I use a work computer, I have my personal computer, I have my phone, my tablet, and I have a smart TV. Now, throughout my day, I kind of consume content across all of these devices in a very random order, depending on how my day goes. And the challenging part for a marketer who wants to reach me is that each of these devices have a different, what we call an identifier, digital identifier that kind of helps marketers and publishers understand my interaction with those devices. So if it's a browser I'm using on my computer, there would be cookies, what we call as a type of identifier. If I'm using a mobile phone and I'm using an application, there are things called mobile ad IDs. So those are all different, what we call digital IDs that represent a user. Now, the challenge is a typical consumer has somewhere between 5 to 7 identifiers that represent their digital touch points throughout their journey. Now, if you think about it from a publisher or marketer's perspective, these are all anonymous identifiers. There's no way for the marketer or the publisher to kind of know that these different digital devices belong to the same person. Tapad's value proposition is we give our marketers a chance, a holistic view of how different digital identifiers are connected to each other at an individual and a household level while preserving the privacy of the consumer. Everything we do is anonymous. We also call it, the industry calls it a pseudonymous ID and pseudonymized ways of tracking. And this is kind of the value proposition that we provide. Having different digital touch points and getting a full picture of the user is pretty crucial for a marketer.
Excellent. And as the industry shifts to away from third-party cookie data and more anonymous searching, Tapads service offering will only increase in demand as digital advertising becomes more and more challenging, more specialized, and more intricate. So focusing then on the machine learning side of that, can you walk us through how machine learning can improve consumer experience for this type of service?
Yeah, absolutely. And as you mentioned, Tapad has been investing a lot in technologies that puts us in a really good position as, cookies and some other identifiers are phased out in the industry. It pushes the industry to innovate and come up with new types of solutions. And Tapad is very well positioned to be able to work with those new solutions and adapt to it. And maybe I can also talk about how marketers and advertisers are using these products and kind of at a high level, which could help us understand how machine learning also fits to Tapad's products as well as our brand's products. The typical type of consumers or customers that we have on Tapad side are brands, marketers, stakeholders of the ad tech ecosystem. But if you think about all of them, they're all working towards one big goal, helping brands find their right consumer at the right time with the right message, right? And they want to help them also measure the effectiveness of how well the cycle is working. Are they reaching the right consumer? Are they doing it at the right efficiency? And are they providing them the right message? And to do that effectively, you really need to know about the user as a whole and not just like a specific touch point that they had on a specific device. So for example, my touch points on my mobile device does not paint a true picture of who I am and what I do on a daily basis. If you really want to get to know me and understand what my challenges are and what I'm actually searching for in terms of products as a brand, you need to kind of get that holistic picture. Now, I'll use a brief example here of how I actually didn't think I would go through the cycle myself, but I did experience something that was quite interesting. So at the beginning of the pandemic, I was sitting at home, getting frustrated as how my day was being spent on so many different things, and I didn't really have time to do the things I wanted to do. And one of the things that made me spend a lot of time was cooking and cleaning. And like that was quite a process and figuring out what I want to eat and shopping. Now, obviously, to figure out what that how I can solve that problem, I went to my favorite search engine. I started typing. I started doing research, and I found myself going down a rabbit hole of looking at different products, looking at different vendors, and I ran into this. I came into realizing that I'm in a decision paralysis. So I shut down my computer. I went back to bed. Next day, I woke up again, same frustration. I don't want to cook breakfast. I don't want to spend time on that. So I go on my day, and it was right around lunchtime, I think, when I started feeling again hungry. And I look at my fridge. I don't have any, food, and I'm like, okay, yeah, this is getting a real problem, right? And I sit down, snacking on things. And I start getting ads on these services that I was looking for the previous night. And one of them really caught my attention. They had really good marketing, really good brand name and creatives. And so I kind of clicked on that. I want to remember if this was one of the things that I looked at in detail the previous night. And one thing that caught my attention was how well they were positioned, how nice they were kind of explaining the value proposition that they provide and how easy they make it for you. Then I was like, okay, this is you guys got me at the right time. I was hungry, and this is definitely for a good time for me to kind of consider this product. But I was not ready to pull the trigger, right? Now, what I did was, okay, I went on my day. I said, I'll deal with this tonight. I'll need to do some more research. I'm still not ready if I want to choose these guys or not. And as I was sitting after work tired, playing games on my phone, I got hit by another ad that's kind of said something like, oh, here, try our product. Here's a $15 coupon, and that was an interesting moment for me because I kind of came into realization that I was going to have to try one of these services eventually, right? And it was going to be a hit and miss. I had to try a few ones before I know what I like. So I was like, why not? Why not start with these guys? They're offering me a discount. It is a good time. So I went ahead and I jumped from my phone to my personal computer because I was not ready to put in my credit card information. And I went into my computer to purchase the product. And I did some research and I kind of went ahead and bought it. So now think about the story from the beginning. And I actually analyzed it later myself as well. It really started on really different touch points. And I started with a problem. I did some research. I showed my intention. Then the brand acknowledged me as a consumer that might be a potential customer. Then they served me an ad. They engaged with me at the right time. They engaged with me with the right message. They knew I was in a decision-making process, and they offered me a discount. And then I pulled the trigger at the end, and I'm actually a very happy customer of theirs for over a year now. So if you think about this journey, right, this is only possible when you actually understand what the user behavior is across all of their devices, not just a single device. And this is what brands need to do. They need to really understand their consumer and really relay the right message at the right time. And what they don't want to do is actually the opposite, which is serve them irrelevant content when they're on a news site or publisher site, right? Like I don't want to see gardening supplies if I'm living in New York in a tiny apartment in a tiny studio. When I'm browsing content, that's not what I'm gonna be buying for. Or I don't want to see an ad 8 times while I'm watching a TV show on my smart TV. And I'm sure most of us have been experiencing this very famous insurance ad that kind of pops up every time you turn on your TV. So those experiences are actually, the latter part is not what your brand to be associated with, but the former is what you want to achieve, which is connect with the consumer.
Absolutely. So tacking onto that then, look, obviously the major firms like a Netflix or an Amazon or a Hulu have tons of data that they can use to target. What can the smaller organizations do to stay competitive, gain better data insights so they can be more accurate with creating experiences for their customers and target audience?
Yeah, you hit the nail in the head. I mean, not everyone has the data that all these big giants have, and even if they do, like if I'm Netflix, right, I only have data on my user while they're browsing content on my specific product, which is on one specific device, which is either maybe sometimes on their phone as well, but mostly on their TV. And there's a lot of data solutions out there. This is kind of why we have a ad tech or martech ecosystem. A lot of companies out there are helping brands do the right, find the right audience, find them at the right time, and message them the right thing. Right. This is the value proposition of a lot of ad tech companies, and Tapad is one of them. We power a really significant portion of the ad tech ecosystem with our cross-device identity solutions. So our customers who are, technology firms or brands or publishers can do what they do best and in an efficient way. And maybe I can also, given that we're talking about machine learning, I can briefly talk about how, machine learning fits into Tapads products, and we can take it from there.
Yes, absolutely. We'd love to hear about it. I think it's a great way to finish off and give us some insight into how you guys are impacting this space.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you think about the different digital touch points that Tapad has access to, so like think of it as Tapad it partners with a lot of brands, publishers, technology firms, data aggregators to receive digital touchpoint data from across multiple devices. So these could be site visitations, these could be advertising data. So how all of this data comes in an anonymous way to Tapad, and there are main data points that we collect that ensures users' privacy. So what we do is we take that raw data, which doesn't have any connections with each other. Think of it as this giant pool of data that you need to now find relationships within. Now, while we're doing that, we also in parallel go out and source data from publishers and brands around authenticated login. So what does that mean? What that means is when I, as a consumer, engage with a news site, I go in and provide my login, provide my email address for login purposes, and I say, okay, this computer that I'm logging in, I give you my email, and then I go do the same thing on the same site on my phone, maybe through their application, and I also do provide the same login. What that publisher will do is create the connection between those two devices, because in a way, I'm telling them that these devices belong to me as the same profile. Now, as Tapad, we go and partner with these parties who have data, as I mentioned, publishers and advertisers and data aggregators. And we use it to kind of train our machine learning algorithms. So remember that pool of data, it's a huge pool. You have a lot of raw data and you don't know anything about their relationship. Now, when we have a small portion of that, enough for us to train our machine learning models, what we do is we tell, hey, machine learning model, go out and now find relationships, find features that are common across these data points that can help us find correlations between other data activities that we might get, so we can draw probabilistic connections. So we train our machine learning models with these deterministic data sets. And then we take that trained model and then we apply it for the rest of the data. Then what the machine learning model does is it tries to find correlations between anonymous identifiers and say, okay, these anonymous IDs, I believe them to be grouped or belong to the same individual or the same household. And then we, using a similar type of data set, but a different one than we train, we measure the effectiveness of how accurate and how scalable these new connections that we have built. That's why we call it probabilistic, because it's not pure, it's not always 100% accurate, but there's really high precision and there's really high scale. And Tapad has kind of over the years perfected the balance between precision and scale. So that's how kind of machine learning fits into our products, if that makes sense.
Excellent. Yeah, absolutely does. Well, Budi, we appreciate you coming on today, talking to us about your own background, what you're doing at Tapad, how Tapad are, helping brands and organizations change with the times, particularly around targeted marketing and content, and how machine learning and data science is at the core of that. You guys are a growing company. There's opportunities for engineers and scientists to get involved. Some really challenging projects in store, and it sounds like a great place to work. So, Budi, thank you again for sharing with us today.
Thank you very much for having me.
AI in Action is brought to you by Alldus International, covering your business's staffing, consulting, and networking needs. Alldus offer an exec search program. Alldus can help you discover how data science and AI can transform your company. With our unrivaled network of C-suite executives and senior AI professionals, we offer retained search services across the US and Europe. Get the Alldus advantage. Become a member of the Alldus community and enjoy some of the following: AI meetups. Once a month, our community gathers to listen to some of the leading experts in the world of data science and AI. Our speakers come from all over the world, including Dublin, Boston, and Frankfurt. We also have our AI mentors. Our experts will provide mentoring to Alldus members. And don't forget our AI in Action podcast. Each week, we have guests from all over the world talking us through their education, career, and more. Become an Alldus member and get the Alldus advantage. For more information and to sign up for our newsletter, log on to www.alldus.com. That's www.alldus.com. Alldus International, empowering through AI.